Hey everyone, check it out. Dino Monoxelos here with the brand new SVT-7PRO. This is brand new in the market. We just introduced it in January NAMM show, and I'm here to show it to you. So we'll talk about some of the features and benefits. And again, I know you all want to hear what this sounds like. The intro clip was me playing through the 7PRO to a drum track, using just the DI out into my Mackie board and into my recording software. So let's talk a little bit about features and benefits, because I know this is brand new for everyone. We'll talk a little bit about specs, and then we'll listen to what it sounds like again. All right, so stick around. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the 7PRO. 7PRO is essentially, it's 1,000 watts at 4 ohms, 600 watts at 8 ohms. This is a little bit of a departure for Ampeg, where in the past all of our Pro Series amps have either been MOSFET, or in the case of the SVT-2PRO was all tube. This guy here is Class D power, which means no heat sinks and no heavy transformers, so it's very lightweight. 1,000 watts at 15.5 pounds. So it is very lightweight for a 1,000 watt amp. If you notice, I don't have rack ears installed on the amp, but they do come with rack ears should you want to rack mount it. I leave the rack ears off, and I just put it in a carrying bag so I can take it to gigs. So it is a tube preamp, the 12AX7 in the preamp. So let's get a close-up of the front panel here. It's pretty self-explanatory. You have an input, mute control, minus 15 dB, compression, and gain. And I'll play a little bit too. So this is with the 15 dB engaged, compression, and then a gain control. Now the gain control is post DI. So the way I'm running it right now is everything you're hearing is coming from the DI into the mixing board. And the EQ is set up as, or the DI is set up as post EQ. So anything I do in the preamp will affect the output to the DI. And then of course ultra high, ultra low, bass, mid-range, frequency select, and treble. And these are all pretty standard for Pro Series amps. One thing I'd like to point out on mid-range and frequency control that a lot of people aren't familiar with is these two controls work in conjunction with one another. Essentially, you have a 5-position mid-range frequency selector switch. And what this does is selects one of 5 frequencies. Position 1 is 220, position 2 is 450, position 3 is 800 hertz, position 4 is 1.6K, and position 5 is 3K. And then this controls whatever frequency you're cutting or boosting. So check it out. Right now I've got 3K selected. Now if I go through all 5 frequencies, you'll hear the difference. That's 3K, 800, 450, and 220. And that's being boosted. So anytime you see this combination, mid-range and frequency, that's what it's doing. Okay? And moving right along, we've got treble, FX loop, master, and headphone out. So it does have a 1/4-inch headphone out on the back. When I turn it around, I'll show you that it also has RCA in. So you can use it as a monitor, you can use it as a practice amp. There's a number of different ways you can use this. Okay, so we're looking at the back panel of the 7PRO. And again, there's not much to look at. It's pretty self-explanatory. One thing I'd like to point out is this little switch here. And this allows you to switch between 115 and 230. Essentially, if you travel overseas or travel outside of the country, it does have a switching power supply. So with the flick of a switch, you can just change the voltage there. Fan. Another thing that is kind of a first for Ampeg is the Neutrik combo jacks. Not only do we have Neutriks, but they are the combo jacks, so you can use a Neutrik speak-on as well as a 1/4-inch. Foot switch. The foot switch accesses the mute button. Power amp in, preamp out. Effects send and return. Tuner out. The aux input, the stereo input, Those are the RCA ins that you can monitor through the headphone in or the headphone out on the front panel. And if you notice, tube direct output, post EQ, pre EQ, and then I'll slide over this way so we can get around that. 0 dB, minus 40 dB, and ground lift on the direct out. So this is what it sounds like pre-EQ. That's basically just coming from the input straight to the DI. And then post-EQ, accessing the front panel and all the EQ controls. Right now I have it at minus 40 dB. If I engage, I just got about 40 dB boost there. So we'll leave that in. So that's pretty much it. Let's hear what this guy sounds like.